Hey Glad, what are you doing?
Making pizza. What are you doing?
I'm filming my wife.
Oh. Does she know?
Yes.
Good.
So what kind of pizza are you making?
I'm planning on making like a pesto pizza.
A pesto pizza?
Yeah. I started making the dough a little bit ago, and I used about 2 cups of flour, about a cup of water, and some yeast, and a little bit of salt. Like,
And when you say some yeast, how much is some?
I just use a packet.
Oh yeah,
One of
a
these.
packet. Hold it up so they can see what brand that is. Cool.
Yeah, I just use a packet, and then I put kind of like whatever this is, a salt in there.
A couple of smidgens.
A couple of smidgens. That sounds about right. And then, what I did is I put a little bit of water in there, and I put the yeast, and then I stirred it up with just a little pinch of sugar. I mean, just a teeny bit. And then you let it kind of feed off it a little bit, and then you put your flour in there with a little, just kind of like a dash of olive oil, and then the salt, and then you just kind of knead it together. And then sometimes you'll see that it's kind of too liquidy or kind of smooshy. So I just add a little flour. So like I'll just put like a little bit kind of on the bowl like this, and then just kind of knead it in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably kind of on the outside, and then I kind of, fold it over. And it's good to stretch it because it's like the air bubbles kind of make it like flaky and good.
Flaky and good.
Flaky and good. And then what I did is I went outside and I picked all the herbs that I want, and I've been soaking them because I want to get all the dirt off of them and stuff. And including this lettuce. So that's a whole bunch of lettuce that I'm soaking because you can actually, if you see in there, a little bit of dirt. A little bit of dirt didn't hurt nobody, but maybe it's okay to rinse it out and water your plants with it.
So we're having a salad with the pizza?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're not making salad pizza.
No.
Okay.
Making pesto pizza.
Pesto pizza.
So another thing that I did is like I pinched back a whole bunch of like one of my basil plants. And this is really nice, like sweet Italian basil. And what I mean by pinch back is usually like you can pinch the flowers off and it'll keep growing because once it goes to seed, it's gone. But I noticed at the bottom there was a bunch of like little I guess like little stems coming up or new growth. So I decided to kind of pinch it back down to half. That way that will grow up, because I was reading about like if you do that to certain plants, it will kind of encourage them to grow more again. You know, the ones that kind of like fade out, they'll kind of roll back. So I was kind of experimenting with that since I haven't really done that much before, because usually I'm like, grow, little friend, and then they die, and I'm like, no. But basils are apparently finicky, so I'm like, well, why not? It's gonna, because I pinched off the flowers a bunch of times, it's gonna fade out, you know what I mean, whether I like it or not. So I figured, well, let's try this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna make pesto, and so I got these soaking as well, because these are like my rosemary and oregano and everything, and that is a little more ticky because they're so small it's hard to really wash them. It's better to soak them to get all the little dirt and whatever on them, So
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing. And it kind of gave it a good amount of time, because like I don't want my dough to rise too long. Like when you're making bread, you want to rise it for a while, but I feel like for me, the way I like it, I like when I make the dough, I go out, get the herbs, and about the time I come back, it's risen a little bit, and then I add a little more flour. That's where you caught me, where I was kneading it again. And now I'm about ready to make my pesto, because it needs to rest again. And then I'll be ready to make my pizza, because I already got the oven heating. And another thing I like to do is, like, your dough likes warm areas. So a lot of times I'll put a little napkin over it like this and keep it by the stove. But not on the stove that like actually gets hot. That actually gets hot. I forgot about that. But it's okay. Nothing bad happened. I didn't leave it.
Sure.
But I like it because it keeps it just enough warm for it to rise. But just, I guess, be careful, because it can get, I guess, too fluffy. And then you got this really, really thick crust that you're just like, oh my gosh, what is this?
And that's a style, but it might not be the style you're going for.
Yeah, I kind of like them, like, kind of like a, not a thin crust, but like
it's
a medium.
like when you go out to eat, it's like kind of traditional. It's not deep, it's not thin.
It's just got a medium. So yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And I guess I'll show you the next step in a second if you want to pause to edit it. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, so, sir, I'm going to get some olive oil, and I'm going to pour it in there. I don't pour this a whole lot, but you do need some just so that the stuff will blend. I know somebody's probably ruling in her that it should be done in a mortar and pestle, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't know, this is quicker. I'm sorry. Don't judge me, okay?
Yeah.
So I also don't have fresh garlic, but this garlic is really good. It's the garlic granules. Like, it's not very expensive. I feel like from Mountain Rose Herbs. I feel like it's a good deal because, like,
Do you remember like about how much you paid for that?
I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I do remember like paying like $3 or $4 or $5 like at the store for like a little small jar of it. I don't think it was much more than that for like a big pound of it.
Yeah. You
So-
feel like, was it like under $10 or something?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. I don't remember it being expensive at all. I just don't remember what it was, but I'm rambling. But
Wow, much value.
I just feel like it was good, and I enjoyed it, and I feel like it tastes better than the stuff at the store. So, so I think that's a fair replacement. And also, it's like, so not everything's like 100% authentic. I just know some people that would be like, but it's okay.
It's organic.
It's organic, but it's like, it's okay. Like, it's gonna be tasty, So anyway, so I poured a little bit of olive oil in there.
Uh-huh.
You can see that. And then what I have here is thyme and oregano, rosemary, and basil. Now, I know some people are really picky that they don't like the stems in there, but that's kind of why it's nice in the blender, because it didn't really matter, because they're edible.
You were 100% not going to notice.
Not gonna notice.
Not
at
in
least,
the blender.
At least I'm not that cool to notice,
Yeah, it's also going on a pizza, which is kind of chunky by nature,
It's
rather than
gonna
like
cook it.
some kind of like it's not supposed to be like a puree.
Yeah. So, like a lot of times when I make pesto, I put like garlic, and I'll put olive oil, I'll put pine nuts and salt and garlic in there, in just varying amounts of, because it's like some people have like a distinct recipe, but I always just kind of like just getting a couple of handfuls and just, I think it's good whatever comes out. I'm not going to put pine nuts in it, because one thing is like, that's a little pricey. I don't feel like I'm going to taste it in a pizza. I feel like that's kind of better when you're making like the sauce, is putting that pine nuts, because it kind of thickens it a little. You can even put almonds in there, but I feel like pine nuts are better. But anyway, I'm just going to do this with olive oil. See that little bit of salt I poured out earlier? That's in amount. And then this. And I even put, see, like there's even some of the flowers in there. The flowers are also edible.
Yeah, don't forget that.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of neat because you can use more of the plant that way.
Mm-hmm.
That way you're not just, oh no, it's just, no, you can use the flowers, it's fine. And actually they would look pretty, like, as a garnish on like a salad or something. But so anyway, I'm going to put those in there with the salt. Put a little bit more olive oil in there, because that's a lot of basil. And I'm going to put some garlic in there. I like a lot of garlic. You may not want as much garlic. That's fine. That's kind of why the unmeasurable recipe is kind of fun, because it depends on your taste. You can add as much.
So that was
garlic as
what,
you want.
2 tablespoons.
Yeah.
You might do 1.
Yeah.
Or just a few pinches if you're like real sensitive to garlic, or just.
I'll just do it to taste, kind of like salt.
Yeah. You can do too much garlic.
I suppose.
Like. like.
But that garlic noodles, it's like tons of garlic in it.
Oh, sure.
It's like a bulb or two.
Well, we prepared it right. I'm just saying, don't dump the whole bag in there.
Yeah. I mean, also, that's really expensive. You know what I mean? To just eat the whole entire bag when you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just do it like this, and eventually it'll kind of like go down. And if it doesn't go down, you kind of stir it a little bit. And eventually you'll get the hint. That's supposed to do what it's supposed to do.
Get in the soup.
Get in the soup.
Pesto. Yeah, that's pesto, all right.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like that's easy because like, you know, because like on one hand it's like I feel like, oh, there's like the fancy bourgeois way of preparing everything, that everything is, you know, blah blah blah, and like that's fun, but like sometimes it's like it's not always easy or affordable to do that. So it's like for me it's like, well, this is how I do it, you know what I mean? It's like I read about how to do it the fancy way or the bourgeois way, and most ways are great, you know, but sometimes it's kind of nice to have a, hey, I just want some pesto and I don't feel like spending all this time. Like, I just want some pesto, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what this is. It's kind of like, you know, easy pesto for like the common people.
Yeah, and
you know,
when you've grown your own basil and everything, it's still like phenomenal. So.
yeah, I feel like it's really, really good. I'm like definitely not like discrediting this at all. But it's just kind of like, you know, it's just for every day. You know what I mean? Why make it like the fanciest whatever every time? You know, it's just kind of nice to just make it, you know. And another thing too, when I was washing all my like herbs and stuff, when you start growing your own herbs, you know, I want people to know it's like they're not gonna be as like pretty as like the store, even though all the plants will be beautiful, but you're gonna have to kind of look past, like, you know, maybe there's a little bit of sun damage, or maybe like the stalk is kind of, you know, thick, you know what I mean? Because like when you get like the herbs and stuff like that from like the store, they're grown hydroponically. They probably haven't been out in the sun. They probably haven't experienced any kind of weather conditions or anything. They've just been watered, and you know, so they're more tender. You know, they're pretty. You know what I mean? And a lot of people think that that's what fresh looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I read that the red delicious apples were bred for the way they look and not so much for the way they taste.
Yeah, I think a lot of tomatoes are like that too, because they're bred for like the perfect round red tomato, and they're tasty. And we're not saying that they're not. We're not saying that they're not even good. I'm sure they're perfectly good. But I guess it's like when you grow your own, it's like the basil that you have grown has experienced the weather. And like the stalk is going to be hard. Like, hold on 1 second. Let me show you. Stay right there. You know, the stalk is hard. You know, it's wood. You know what I mean? It doesn't, you know, it's,
yeah.
See that? And a lot of people, like...
Our African blue basils, when we grow them, actually grow into like...
Yeah.
Almost like a bush with
Yeah.
woody, like true
So
wooden
cool.
stalks. Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like, I guess wanted to tell like first time gardeners, because I kind of feel like, you know, experienced gardeners are like, yeah, like, you know, you're telling me that the sky is blue. I got you. You know, but then like I feel like some people, like, they may not know that. They may think that they're doing something wrong or whatever. But no, like, you know, your plants, you know, if you care for them and everything, should look beautiful. But it's not like this grocery store beautiful. You know, there's gonna be imperfections, and that's what makes them beautiful, you know? And that's kind of wanted to have like a little spiel about herbs and things like that, because like not all of the oregano leaves I put there were like perfect, flawless, you know, display. It's like, you know, some of them had a little bit of brown on them, but they were fine. You know, there wasn't any disease or anything wrong with them. They just got a little dry. You know, it was been really hot the last few days. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I wanted to, you know, kind of mention, since I haven't really talked about that before, because I haven't really talked about, you know, plants and once I'm cooking them. I've mostly talked about plants growing them.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
And like another thing, stay right there.
Okay, I'll stay right here.
Oh yeah, here we go. Here mind. Let's see, like, I remember one time I handed somebody one of my tomatoes, and I was so proud because I knew they tasted so good, right? They kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and they were like, I trust you, Glad, because you're my friend, but they look like this. You know what I mean? And they were like, and I just know, just cut that off. You know, if you want to, skin it, but none of that's gonna hurt you. You know, and just kind of, you can kind of get in there and cut that out or whatever. And they took it home and they did what I told them to do, and they said that was the best tomato that they put in their mouth.
And it was a Cherokee purple, just like that one.
Just like this one, but the thing is that they're just kind of ugly. But that's kind of cool. Like, you know, that's how you know it's like came from the earth, and I think that's really special. And look, it even looks like a heart.
It does.
So yeah.
Give me 1, 2, 3.
You're going.
No, I'm going. Okay.
So I have my hubby slicing them in slices, because you'll see what I'm doing. But I thought this would be kind of cool to kind of make like a pesto pizza. What they call them?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, the cool thing about pizzas, like every time I do them a little bit differently. A lot of times, like I'll make a tomato sauce, which I obviously will do a video of because I really want to catalog me doing that because I really enjoy doing that every year.
And it's the time of the year for it,
It
too.
is. And I'm already starting to get a bunch of tomatoes. But I don't know, I just enjoy doing that. But see, we don't even bother getting that little brown skin off because it don't hurt you none.
No. If you ain't like one of these texture people that need pulpless orange juice, then you probably won't mind either.
Yeah, and it's fine if you do, and it's fine if you don't. You know what I mean? I'm the kind of person that I leave the seeds in my tomato sauce, and I know that horrifies some people, but that's just who I am. It's okay. You know, I know how to strain it, and when I do it, I'll probably show you the strained version because that's the fancy version, and it's kind of good to know how to do that. You know, there's extra steps, but it's cool. Yeah, but oh, they just look so pretty.
Look at that color.
I know, right? The colors in them. And like, this is pretty ripe, but it's still got a little green in it. But I know that they're ripe.
Yeah.
Just tasty.
So ripe.
Yes. Thank you so much, because my dough is starting to really rise. Because it's actually pretty warm in here with the oven and everything. But that's not bad. It may not be as thin a crust as I normally like to do, but it'll still be fine, you know, because I'm kind of getting it just in time. But I've already greased my pans. I'm a little bad. You're supposed to heat them up and then put it on there, but since I roll it out in there, I usually leave them cool, but I leave them on the stove where they get kind of warm. I've never really had an issue too much with them once I start putting them in the oven, because I know, you know, you're supposed to heat it up, but I don't. And I never had an issue. So.
Yeah.
I guess like some stuff is like I'm explaining like, well, this is a way of doing it, but this is how I'm doing it. And that's kind of how I usually train people, like at work and stuff like that. When I've worked with them, I was like, well, this is what you're supposed to do. But if anybody asks, that's what I told you to do. This is how I do it.
Yeah.
I'm collateral. And it's good to stretch it. Some people can do that cool thing. I cannot do the little flip thing, so I just kind of stretch it. I know some people will put it on a board and have like one of those pizza stones or baking stones, and they slide it in there. That's cool. I just really liked having like the greased cast iron skillet, because like when it comes out, the bottom is just really crispy, and I guess maybe that's why I kind of let it just kind of be warm and not hot, because it kind of lets me kind of control the crispiness, because it's gonna get crispy in there. You know what I mean? That's not a problem with cast iron.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a bigger deal on the baking stone.
Perhaps.
Maybe. But anyway, let's see how I kind of just put it in there and then just kind of smush it out.
Yeah, you can't quite do the, flat earth atlas?
What now?
The spinny maneuver?
Oh yeah, I can't do that. That's what I was talking about. Some people do it.
Yeah, the earth is hollow anyway.
Well, well, that's a really good movie. Have you seen The Mole People, Eric?
I have not seen the Mole People.
It's on the list of like the 100 things of movies you need to see.
Well, I guess I'll have to see it then.
Yeah, especially the way you talk about the Hollow Earth, because like at the beginning it's like the scientists talking about the Hollow Earth theory, and it's like from the 50s.
Nice.
It's fun. I really enjoyed it. It's super cheesy, but fun. See, what people don't realize is like cheesy can be tasty.
Yeah. Even vegans have like faux cheese.
Yeah, exactly. And see, sometimes I'll stretch this dough into just 2 pans or make little small ones. This one did kind of rise a little much, so I kind of stretched it out a little bit further because I know it's going to rise a little bit more. And as you play with dough, it's almost kind of like being a kid, but in the adult way, where it's like you get to kind of experiment with it. Because that's kind of the best thing I've noticed, because it's like if you kind of experiment with things, you'll start to kind of, you know, you'll have a few like successes or a few failures, but over time you get kind of used to it. Since, you know, if I got this a little bit sooner, it might have been better as like, you know, 2 pizzas or 2.5 pizzas, like a little small one. it rolls a little bit, so maybe if I spread it a little thinner, it'll kind of come out about right. But, you know, it's just kind of, some of it is trial and error. But I feel like overall, when I kind of do it this way, I feel like it's going to turn out well. And really, it's not bad having just 2 cups of flour turn into about 4 or even 3 pizzas, you know, depending on how thick you want it all. And also too, like, I've never noticed a big deal having like see how it's a little thin right there?
Well, let me get in there.
Yeah, see how it's a little thin right there? It's like, as long as you kind of smush it, I've never had, because it kind of, as it rises, it'll kind of fill it in. I've never had a problem with the pizza coming up after that.
I see.
Yeah.
That's a better view of everything.
Yeah, but see how I'm like spreading it out and making it thin. And I mean, I've really oiled these, by the way. They're like shiny.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like just like insane amount of oil, but like enough where it's slick. You know what I mean? And you can really put it on there. And like, see, like the pans, like for me, it's like the pans are warm because the oven is warm, but it's not so hot that I'm burning myself because I'm pressing it on there. Because if this was on heating this up, preheating it, this wouldn't really be very good doing that unless you have like those like cook hands that are already like calloused. You know what I mean?
Oh,
mine
sure.
are a little calloused, but like not that cool. So, but I guess that's kind of why I mentioned it. That's what part of why like this is the way I like making them, so that's kind of how it does it. But I haven't had an issue. But I'm rambling about it. But anyway, so there's that. I'm gonna dish this out amongst the board. A lot of times when I make pizzas, I get the herbs and I always put them on the bottom because they're gonna burn, you know, if you put them on the top. It's not gonna be pretty or tasty.
Oh, yeah, important detail. Herbs on bottom.
Herbs on bottom because they're delicate, you know what I mean? And
sounds like a indie band.
Herbs on top because they're delicate.
Herbs on bottom.
Herbs on bottom. Oh yeah, the top. I'm sorry, it's hot. Don't judge me.
You good?
And so I evenly distribute it, but a lot of times I'll put like, you know, I'll put like the basils and I'll make like a pattern just because it's fun. You know, that way, you know, every little bite kind of has a basil, or you can tear them up or whatever. But like I said, I'm kind of making like that pesto or margarita pizza. And a lot of times too, when I make them with tomato sauce, I'll put olive oil first.
Yeah,
but since this already has olive oil in it, I'm just gonna spread it because I feel like it kind of creates kind of like a barrier from your toppings and stuff to have that little coat of olive oil on top. That it kind of protects the dough.
I see.
It kind of keeps things from kind of getting too wet or whatever.
Gotcha.
At least for me.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is, like, let's say, like, I put, like, my fresh, like, basil or whatever on there. Like, I'll put the tomato sauce on top and then the cheese because it protects it. And that's kind of what I was getting at. And the same thing here because, like, these are still fresh even though they're chopped up, but we don't want them to burn and get weird and not be tasty.
Sure,
you know, we want them to cook. We want them to be tasty and good, you know. But see, it's even rising while I'm cooking it because it's just a little warm.
Well, it is. You can tell.
Yeah, because like with those little holes I was talking about, they're going away. That's kind of why when I do this, I'm usually a little bit quicker and I don't talk. So these will be a little fluffy, but
What are you talking for?
What are you talking for? I'm doing what I'm doing! Sir! Wow. Maybe just a little more. And I'll probably scrape this out.
Yeah, get the last scraggly bits.
Scraggly bits. I don't know if I want a scraggly bit. I don't like lacing under this. It's so good. There we go. And I think too, it's kind of good to let it, the way I did it, like sit in the blender a little bit because it kind of lets the flavors kind of blur. And there we go. We got all that. All right, and now I'm gonna put my maters on there.
Your tomatoes.
My tomatoes.
Might would have sliced them a little thinner.
Yeah.
Be a good thick pizza.
I might need you to chop. Oh, maybe it's okay. It's a little Yeah, it might have been better a little thinner, but it'll be alright.
I get used to chopping them up just to make tomato sauce.
Yeah.
Do I need to slice another tomato?
Yeah. Hold on.
All right. Well.
Yeah, we need to slice another tomato.
Okay.
One more should do it.
All right. I'm grating up some of this Kerrygold. It's a big old block from Costco. It's looking real good there. You want a bit of feta also. You putting salt on what now?
The tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
There is salt in the dough, and there is salt in the pesto.
Yes.
But not any salt on the tomatoes, so I like a little salt on it because, like, if I made tomato sauce, it would have a little salt. So I just put a little salt on top because it'll go through it in the cooking process. And if you just put a little light layer of whatever's in the pesto and everything, will be fine too.
Yeah, you're pretty salty.
Just to make sure. Because, like, the top isn't going to have any salt, the bottom will get a little salt.
Yeah.
You don't want to put too much too, because I am going to put feta.
Yeah.
They're really salty, but I just...
Just get an inkling for a sprinkling.
Look at my nose at you, sir. Have your nose and look at that.
Wait. Do that again. Oh, wait. What? We just had a nose wiggled at us, game gardeners. All right, a chunk of
Just
cheese.
do this to taste.
Uh-huh.
I like just kind of lightly doing it. You can put more, you can put less. I like a little light thing because, you know, it is a little salty and you don't want too much. And it is a strong taste, I feel like.
The
but
cheese
it's
is salty because it's
Yeah.
got it's put in a salty brine.
They make it, and it's a strong cheese. It's just, but it's really good though. But you know, a little. I guess it's like a little goes a long way. Is what I'm getting at.
Sure.
But see how it's kind of like protecting the herbs. The herbs are at the bottom, like protect.
Mm.
Because you want the cheese to be melty too. You want it to be kind of a nice golden brown. And look how pretty it is too. Like look at the colors with like the white and the green and the tan and the red and the pinks and everything. It just looks really pretty.
Mm-hmm. Let's get a good look at it.
I'm gonna look at it before it gets cooked.
Now,
And just so y'all know, Galadriel does buy in bulk because it's cheap.
yes. Here we go. All right. Very nice. Even coverage.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just a little more cheese on them. Oven. And it's
Wait. You did what?
Preheated the oven.
To what temperature?
75.
375? Okay.
not have this many, and it may not be an issue for y'all. If you do, if you do just make 2 pizzas, you can just put one on top and one on the bottom, or whatever. I made a whole bunch of them, so I'm gonna have to remember to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes on the top, flip them out, 10 to 15 minutes on the bottom. Because like, if you see how they're in there, they're like, one's gonna mostly get the bottom, and the other one's not gonna really get the top. But they all fit in there.
And how long are they gonna take?
Oh, it's gonna like take 10 to 15 minutes, and then you flip them. So like, you'll know when this one's kind of top, when you look in there and you see that the cheese is kind of melty, you know what I mean? It's time to flip them because the bottom's gonna be kind of crispy, but you can't see it, right? And then you flip them, not flip the pan, but you just take what's on the bottom to the top and top to the bottom.
Yeah,
and swap
them.
Yeah. And then you cook for another 10 or 15 minutes. So it's not gonna be like one of those like pizzas that you stick in there for 10 minutes and it's done. But, you know, it's kind of good.
Yeah.
So now we wait, and we set a timer.
Cool.
Yeah. And I think it's done because it's going to cook a few more minutes in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and sit this out because I don't want it to overcook.
No.
No. So see how it's kind of goldeny brown on the top? All right, let's see how it's sizzling. I would not recommend cutting this immediately because it's molten. But I give it about 5 to 10 minutes to cool. It will continue to, like I said, to kind of cook because the cast iron skillets really do retain their heat really well. And I feel like that's kind of where I get to cheat on the crispiness by not heating up before because they just retain their heat so they just stay crispy. So yeah.
Excellent.
Yum, yum, yum. All right, so now that it's starting to cool down, I can actually see like it's not just molten anymore. I'm getting with a knife and kind of breaking the I'm just giving it from the bottom because like the edges kind of.
Yeah, and you like cool for what, like 5
to 10 minutes.
5 10 minutes.
You know, I'm not really exactly sure how long I left it, but it just when it's not, it doesn't look like lava anymore. It's when you want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and then because I've oiled it and everything, see how like it's easy to kind of come out of the pan? It kind of wiggles in there. It's kind of cool. See?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, look how clean it is under there.
Yeah.
Alright, and now I'm going to get. So anyway, like what I do since I don't have my cool like pizza cutter, which is nice because it kind of rolls in there and it's nice, but I just kind of just real carefully kind of cut along. And
Yeah.
kind of punch in.
And that's a Cutco knife with the double D edge, so it's not getting dulled by cutting on that pan, but a standard serrated edge would, so
Yeah.
just be mindful of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's breaking a little bit. It'll be okay. It'll still be good. My grandfather always said, if it ain't good unless it's messy.
That's right.
He's right. There we go. I'm not going to chop them all up. That's good enough for now. Because they're really hearty.
Yep.
And, hold on. Missed a little spot right there. Whoops. A little too crispy. There we go. There's always the edges that get me because of the. There we go. Ta-da! like the outside is real crispy. You can see how it's like crispy under there. See how brown it is?
Yeah.
Just really good and crispy and tasty.
Yum.
Yum.
Excellent. Yeah.
All right. Well, I got my slices of pizza and my lettuce that I pulled from the garden. I just put a little bit of this really cool, like it's like lavender vinegar that I got from like a shop up in Nashville.
Yeah.
I put a little salt, a little pepper, a little olive oil to kind of make a light little dressing for it. And now I have an awesome summer pizza with tomatoes and herbs from my garden and a little side salad.
And the lettuce is from the garden too, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yip, yip, yip.
And there you go. Game gardeners, make your own pizza. If you wanted to not make a pesto pizza, or you just had some canned sauce on hand and you wanted to use instead, you could follow the steps up to the point we applied the pesto sauce and just put tomato sauce instead and apply your own cheese and be the same.
Yeah, I mean, you can put anything you want on there, but that was just kind of what I had. So,
Sure.
Yay. Hey, don't be eating that salad. Cat was eating the salad.
This cat.
This cat. No. Purr, 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 purr.
Guilty.
Guilty.